Welcome back to The Explainer. So, whether you call it football or soccer, there's one thing we can all absolutely agree on. The beautiful game is getting faster every single season. We've got quicker players, sharper passes, and frankly, the margins for error are just getting thinner and thinner. And because of that, the technology and the rules running the pitch, they've got to evolve right alongside the athletes. So today we're unpacking exactly how the rules and the tech are shifting for the 2024-25 season to keep things fair, fast, and most importantly, safe.
Picture this. It's the 90th minute of a massive cup final. A striker heads the ball toward the top corner, the keeper swats it away at the very last millisecond, and the entire stadium literally holds its collective breath. You know the feeling. In that exact moment, the single most stressful, high-stakes question a referee faces is simply this: did the whole ball cross the line?
Okay, let's dive into this, because the answer to that massive question, it doesn't require minutes of debate or guesswork anymore. It takes exactly 1 single second. Yep, just 1 second for goal line technology to process the physics of the play and give the ref a definitive, totally indisputable answer.
So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. The tech behind the goal. 2. What if technology fails? 3. Prioritizing player health. 4. Updating the player's equipment. And finally, number 5, clarifying the handball rule.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the tech behind the goal, precision in a split second.
You know, since goal line tech was first implemented back in 2014, we've seen this massive leap in how it operates right above the players' heads. Here's how it actually works. Step 1. 14 high-speed cameras are mounted way up on the stadium catwalk or under the roof, and they are completely locked in on the 2 goal areas. Step 2. The system instantly uses the data from those cameras to whip up a 3D animation of the ball's exact position. They can even throw this up on the Jumbotron for the fans. And then step 3, that definitive signal is transmitted strictly to the match officials in, like we said, under 1 single second. And this brilliantly illustrates our very first official rule change for the 2024-25 season. Law 111 updates how that vital signal is actually received. So referees don't just have to stare at their watch or wait for a buzz on their wrist anymore. Competitions using this tech can now send that immediate automatic goal confirmation directly into the referee's earpiece or headset. It's such an elegant upgrade, really, because it keeps the referee's eyes right where they need to be, on the players.
Moving right along to Section 2. What if technology fails? Busting GLT myths.
Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what on earth happens when all this high-end tech has a glitch? Well, first off, it really helps to bust a super common myth. People often assume the stadium just uses one giant, unified camera system for every single high-tech replay. Actually, that's not true at all. Goal line technology uses its 14 cameras purely focused on the 2 goal areas. It completely ignores the rest of the pitch. Meanwhile, semi-automated offside technology, that uses an entirely different set of cameras covering the entire field of play. So here's a quick pop quiz for you, straight from the official FIFA FAQs. Does GLT use the data from the sensor inside the ball? Now, we all know the match balls have microchips in them these days for offside decisions, so it makes total sense that it would be used for the goal line too, right? Actually, no. The answer is a definitive no. As outlined for the upcoming 2026 World Cup, the GLT system relies strictly on those 14 cameras. The data from the sensor inside the ball has zero involvement in determining if the ball crossed the line. So, what if those cameras malfunction? Well, there's a manual backup plan. The video match officials, the VAR team, they'll just step in and review the goal line incident using the available broadcast cameras to make the call.
All right, let's pivot to Section 3, prioritizing player health, new IFAB implementations.
So, stepping away from the stadium tech for a minute, let's look at the official rulebook transitions distributed by organizations like the U.S. Soccer Referee Program. We're talking about the fully vetted, official laws of the game going into effect for the 24-25 season, which literally shape how the sport is governed safely around the world.
And honestly, one of the most absolutely crucial updates here is to Law 3, which is all about the players. Competitions now have the official option to permit additional permanent concussion substitutions. Basically, if a player suffers a suspected head injury, a team can make a permanent sub following specific protocols, without burning through their standard allotment of substitutions. It's a hugely vital, totally necessary adaptation. It just goes to show how the modern game is actively updating to prioritize player health above everything else.
That brings us to Section 4, updating the player's equipment, from shin guards to armbands.
Okay, we are getting into some surprisingly specific clarifications regarding what players are actually wearing on the pitch this season. I mean, Contrast the highly advanced camera networks we just talked about with this perfectly analog table. The rules now explicitly separate compulsory equipment from other equipment. Shin guards and the captain's armband, strictly compulsory. But get this, goalkeeper gloves and tracksuit bottoms, yes, sweatpants, have been formally recategorized simply as other equipment. So despite being worn by practically every goalie on Earth, gloves aren't actually legally required to play the game. Crazy, right?
Now, when it comes to that compulsory equipment, Law 4 has a kind of funny but totally necessary update. Players are now explicitly responsible for the size and suitability of their own shin guards. Referees aren't out there to dress the players, right? The players themselves have to make sure their gear is made of suitable material, gives reasonable protection, and, actually fits properly under their socks.
We've also got some standardization for the leaders on the pitch. The captain's armband rules have been really tightened up. Moving forward, it must be issued or authorized by the competition organizer. If it's not, it needs to be a simple, single color with an optional C or the word captain. And the whole point here is to stop players from wearing distracting or unsanctioned armbands, making it incredibly easy for the ref to immediately spot the designated leader in the absolute heat of the match.
And finally, let's look at Section 5, clarifying the handball rule, intent and impact.
Look, we all know the handball is pretty much the most heavily debated topic in football. It's analyzed in pubs and living rooms literally every single weekend. Well, the IFAB has added this exact, heavily vetted line to Law 12, putting us right inside the official referee handbook. It states that a player is cautioned for unsporting behavior for stopping a promising attack, quote, except where the referee awards a penalty kick for a non-deliberate handball offense.
So, let's break down the logic here, because this radically changes how penalties are actually sanctioned. Back in the day, a penalty often meant a double punishment, a spot kick and yellow card, even if the handball was a total accident. But now, if it's a non-deliberate handball in the box, a penalty kick is awarded, but the player is not slapped with a yellow card for stopping the attack. The ref just treats it like a genuine attempt to play the ball. However, if it's a deliberate handball denying a goal, oh yeah, that is still a straight red card and you are sent off. It brings some much-needed common sense to those totally accidental handball situations.
To wrap up our rulebook deep dive, we have 2 additional penalty updates under Law 14. First up, precision at the spot. When placing the ball for a penalty kick, part of the ball must actually touch or overhang the center of the penalty mark. So, no more sneaking it forward for a cheeky little advantage. Second, player encroachment into the box during a kick is now only penalized if it actually has an impact on the play. This means outfield players running in a fraction too early are judged with the exact same practical approach used for goalkeeper encroachment. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought. How are these split-second tech checks and new safety rules going to change the flow of your next weekend match? Are you going to notice the referee listening to their earpiece instead of checking their watch? Will you spot that standardized captain's armband? Next time you watch a game, keep an eye out for these little subtleties. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep learning, keep watching the beautiful game, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.